You are at the last step of your pre-writing, just about done. The hardest part is over. So we're going to take a look at that graphic organizer for the introduction. For the introduction, you need to have the basic information to introduce the topic to your readers. So you need to have the who, what, when, where, why. Best place to find all that information is in the background essay. So you're kind of summarizing the background essay or pulling out some key facts from the background essay. Who can be like the colonies in Britain. The dates are in here. When you get to the why, that one, sometimes you leave the why out of an introduction if your essay is all about the why. But for those of you who are saying the Stamp Act was justified, you're probably going to want to explain why the colonists didn't like it in your introduction, so you can explain why it was okay anyway. Not too much time on that because that's probably in your counter argument as well. But just a quick introduction. What was the issue or the problem? You could talk about the debts from the war that led to the Stamp Act. You don't want to spend too much time on representation here. And then you have your claim. For your introduction, the last sentence in introduction must be your claim. Now, while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and copy my claim statement. You'll find out why in a little bit. You can go ahead and copy yours too if you're done with your introduction, or if you just want to do this with me. I'm going to go down to the conclusion now. And with the conclusion, the first thing we need to do is we need to kind of review what we have said in the essay. We need to remind the readers of your claim and major reasons one last time. And then we wrap it up somehow. So there's a cheating way to restate your claim without saying the exact same sentence. So I'm going to start by pasting that sentence that I just copied, which is the exact same sentence, of course. Now, there's two parts to your claim. This word because is right here. That is our transition word, and that is sort of marking the middle of our sentence. So if I take this first half, the Stamp Act was not justified, everything up to the word because, I'm going to cut that. I need it again, but I don't want it there. Now, we're going to ignore that for a little bit, and we're going to do something your elementary teachers probably told you to never, ever, ever do. We're breaking one of their rules that actually didn't need to be a rule, because you can do this if you know how. We're going to start our sentence with because. So because your two reasons. Now, here's what you have to do to make this a grammatically correct sentence. This is what your elementary teachers did not want to teach you. And that is that you have to take out that period and put a comma. If you start with because, you have to have a comma at the end of that clause. And then you have to have another complete thought after that. And so this is where we're going to paste that beginning part. All we did was we took the first part and the ending part and we switched them. And we changed the punctuation a little bit. So we have to put a period here at the end of justified. And I need to take my capital T and make it lowercase. And I put a comma in the middle. That's it. Now I have a new sentence. You are welcome to rewrite it in another way that actually sounds better, but this is the easy way. For those of you who are like, I don't know how to restate that a different way, this is how you do it. Now, once you've done that, you can either kind of review more of what you just wrote, or you can wrap it up your own way. If you have an idea, that's almost always going to be the best way to wrap it up. If you are at a loss for an idea, that's the only time you're going to want to look at my suggestions here. So, these 3 questions, do not try to answer all 3 of them. That would make a terrible conclusion. Do not try to do all 3. Just choose one if you don't have any other ideas. If you have another idea, use it. But these 3 ideas, one is, if I said that it was not justified because the colonists wanted to have a representative in Parliament, I wonder, what could Britain have done differently to prevent the Revolutionary War? Maybe give the colonists a representative? What would that have changed things? That would be one way to wrap it up if you focused on that representation issue. Another way that you could wrap it up is these last 2 are kind of like, what do people do now if there's something that a law or a tax or something that we don't like? So If a person wanted to lead a movement to change the way the government works now, what is or is not effective? What did the colonists do that was effective? What did they do that was not effective? Or what did Britain do that was not effective? How do we take this lesson and make it work for us now if we want to make change? Similarly related but different question that you could use to think about with your conclusion is, what should people do to decide if an unpopular law is really necessary? The Stamp Act was not popular, but you can make a pretty good case that it was necessary. So, should the colonists have been listening to people like Patrick Henry who were ready to light a match and throw it on the fire and try to get this war going? Should we listen to people like him? Or should we listen to people who are maybe a little bit more calm? How do we check it out? What could the colonists have done, looking at document E, what could the colonists have done to figure out if this really and truly was actually not fair? What do we need to do now to figure out if a law really is not fair? So those are some ideas. Like I said, you do not have to use those ideas. But once you get that conclusion and the introduction box done, you are done with the pre-writing and ready to write that essay.